Hi, this is Pam, Flower Patch Farmhouse, and today I'm going to show you how I do some winter sowing. This is a super easy method. A lot of people use it. It's quite successful with seeds that like winter stratification or a cold stratification period. I've tried it with mini plants and it works really, really well. I have some seeds on order and I will do this with some of those. And then also I have seeds I have left over from last year and I'm going to go ahead and use them today. So I use these milk jugs. My sister's been saving these for me. We don't drink this much milk, but she has 4 sons, so they go through quite a bit. And I have scrubbed them, bleached them a little bit to make sure there's no bacteria or anything. And then I poke holes in the bottom with a hot skewer, and then for good drainage. And then I cut around the base of the handle here. I leave about 1.5 inches to act as a hinge, and then I cut all the way around. And how I get the first part started, where I get the scissors in there, is I use the same skewer that I put the holes in the bottom, creates a gap, and I can cut with my scissors the rest of the way around. Now you'll notice it's not perfectly even. It kind of goes up and around. Not a big deal. I'm going to put soil in it, and then I'll duct tape it closed, and then I'll put them out where I'm going to have them for the rest of the season. So I'm going to point the camera down at my table so you can see what I'm doing, and then we will get planting. Now the first thing I'm going to do is choose what I'm going to plant today. Now I have 2 types of hollyhocks, and they're both doubles. I have a lot of single hollyhocks in my garden, and I would like to do some doubles. So I'm going to mark on, with my trusty little Sharpie, on the container what I'm planting in it. I'm going to write on it in several places on here in case one gets washed off, and I'll put a little marker inside that says what it is so that if it gets washed off on the outside, I will know. So this is going to be the apricot peach hollyhocks. And I will save this packet so I can look at it to see what they are. By the time I'm ready to plant these out, I won't remember what they look like. But by putting apricot peach, I'll kind of know what colors they are. And a little interior one. I reuse ones that come on packages of plants that I buy in 6 packs. I reuse everything I can, that way I'm not having to buy anything. Okay, so let's get out our, oh no, before I get out the seeds, I need to put some soil in here. And I'm going to use my handy dandy scooper. So I'm filling up my container. I put some of the seed starting mix in here. This is actually my own DIY potting soil, and I have a blog post as well as a video on that. And I don't always make it exactly the same. I just kind of have a general amount of peat moss, compost, and perlite, but it works really well for the seeds starting. This is the oriental poppies. Now I'm going to do 2 different containers with these, because I want to do one inside my greenhouse and one outside in the garden. Now there's plenty of seeds, so I'm going to do like maybe half of them in here. Now this packet of seeds cost me maybe $1, so I'm going to be very generous with the seeds and hoping that I get a good germination. Now I'm going to press them down. You can't see them on here at all, but I'm going to firm them down in here. And I forgot to water the soil, so I'm going to go ahead and water. Hopefully it won't displace. I'm going to be very gentle. Usually I water first to get it good and moist, and that way it doesn't move the seeds. But since I firmed them down, I think they're going to be fine. There's no hard, fast rules. You just do your best. And then I'm going to go ahead in here and get some of the vermiculite, put on top. And since I just really watered well the soil, I'm not going to bother with moistening the perlite, or the, not perlite, but vermiculite, because it will absorb moisture from the soil, as well as when it rains soon, it will dampen it. So I'm going to go ahead and close it up, do again with the duct tape, and I'm going to be a little messier this time. I'm just going to go ahead and go around as best as I can instead of cutting it in sections. Now this one has a little indentation there. It's kind of a pain in the patoot, but we will do fine because it'll adhere to the other spots. And if I don't get it all on there exact, then I will come back over with some pieces. So duct tape is your friend. When you aren't having a fight with it. There we go. Okay, now see here, this spot kind of got bare. Wasn't in the right spot exactly, so I'm going to redo a piece over that. Just cut another piece. Hopefully you'd have sharper scissors. And that takes care of that. So now you have your mini greenhouse with your oriental poppies. And I forgot to put my little thing in there. But I would normally have this inside of there. And I'm not going to bother opening it to put that in there. I'm just going to write this more spots, so in case it comes off one, I can figure out the other. And also I will know that the one that doesn't have a tag in there would be the oriental poppy. So I'm going to put this aside and do my next oriental poppy that I'm going to keep inside the greenhouse. I want to see if there's going to be a difference with how they germinate, one as opposed to the other, one inside, one outside. So here is one of my metal raised beds that I used last summer. This is my vegetable and fruit, well, vegetable garden. And I'm going to just set those containers within this raised bed. It's dormant for now. I don't have anything on top. I had thought of emptying it and putting a mesh underneath it because I have voles really bad. But for the time being, until I get to that, if I get to that, I'm going to put my containers in here, and I'm going to set them down into the soil just a little bit. That'll prevent them from blowing around and being knocked over by the wind. We don't get a lot of wind, and I would have the high hopes that the raccoons and bears would leave these alone, but we'll see. I don't think they'll bother them. Okay, I'm just going to use my garden fork. I'm going around. This is one of my lilacs that I started from a sucker. I think this one is Sensational. It's a variegated, which is really, really pretty. So I'm just going to move a little bit of soil just so I can seat the jug down into it. And I'll do that same thing over here for the second one. Just move it a little bit out of the way. You still see some of the cherry tomatoes that fell off my cherry tomato plants. And I'll just set it in there. I just kind of, I don't want to push too hard because it's just held together with tape. And then I'll just scrunch some of the soil up. You don't have to put any soil around it. That's just to help seed it in there a little bit. So. And I'll go finish doing my other jugs. I have quite a few more, and I'm going to do some black-eyed Susans, echinacea, and I have larkspur too. I want to do some larkspur, so I'm going to do a bunch of different flowers, and when my new ones come in, I'm going to do those too. So there's my spiel for the day on winter sowing. Is that it? I think that's it. Okay, see you in the next video.